I can. Miracle upon miracle. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Global Chamber. This is our weekly foreign direct investment conversation. I see that we don't yet have Jim or Ellen, so hopefully they'll be joining. There are facilitators and moderators, and given that
It must be me.
I'm sorry?
It's because of me.
No, I'm sure not. Jim was going to be back in the U.S., but he was been traveling in Europe, and
Mm.
I thought he was going to be back yesterday, but then I heard through another party that he was extending his trip, and that other party said, "Well, that's Jim. He always books when he flies a one-way ticket, and then he
Oh, yeah.
decides when he's going to come back."
Flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah, to be flexible. And so he's met with Global Chamber Chair of the London chapter, Zainab El, and then also Paul Danks, and who I think you may know, and all sorts of folks in London. So he previously was in Scotland, I believe last week, and we had a meeting late last week. And he had pictures of Edinburgh behind him, but he had already gone to London. So he's had a kind of a bit of a whirlwind. So he may or may not be on a plane, and he may or may not join us. Ellen Sue is our co-facilitator of this conversation. She's been in Taiwan for 3 weeks, and so part of that was business, and part of that was family. A good part of it was family. I have not spoken with her since she's back. I think she did say she was back, so I was thinking she might be here today, but I may have misunderstood. So, nonetheless, we'll push forward because we have two speakers today, both of whom have some really important news and information for you. The first part will be Lauren Cohen. Lauren is an attorney. She does legal work and also facilitates people to not just purchase and invest in real estate, but also helps them live where they need to live through her own efforts and through her network. And so Lauren's based in Florida. She'll be our kickoff speaker. And then we have Heather. How do you pronounce your last name, Heather?
It's Lay.
Lay. So Heather Lay. And now that I see that name, I know another person in Arizona with a very similar name. So we'll have to circle back on that. Heather, and through Patrick O'Meara, who was part of an event that we did in April, the Grow Globally Fair, our signature event, and his connections with Grand Canyon University, has become a member of Global Chamber, has done some extraordinary work on the real estate side. And hopefully, Patrick, you can share both that and then also Heather. So we're going to get, though, to Lauren first. Lauren, thank you for joining us today. Could you give any correction to the information that I've given so far, and also any additional elaboration on your background and the work that you do? And then let's get right into it. Share with us your thoughts around how can people, especially these days, and with governments encouraging people generally to come to their country. And now that I
Some.
said that, that's not true universally, is it? Uh,
Right.
but generally, that's happening in all sorts of places. This morning, our Global Chamber Estonia chapter, as maybe some of you know, Estonia has put in the processes to allow businesses to digitally be in Estonia. And sometimes you don't even physically need to be there. And then recently, I entertained a group from Latvia in Los Angeles, and it included the foreign direct investment and business side of the country of Latvia. And we were talking about what Estonia had done. And they, of course, maybe not of course, but their response to that was, well, they're doing pretty good, but we have a much better program. And they've moved on to articulate what, from a personal standpoint, you can do with Latvia, but also in their belief, a faster setup of businesses in Latvia. So, and we'll be talking about that in a foreign or in a future conversation here at Global Chamber. Lauren, thank you for your participation here today, and thank you for your support and collaboration with Global Chamber. What would you like to share?
Hi, so thank you, Doug. So first off, I will not correct, but add to what you said. So I do live in Florida, but I am not from Florida. I'm an immigrant myself. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And I'm very proud of that fact. And I work not exclusively, but extensively with Canadians looking to invest not only in the US, but in several other countries. And I also help them to relocate to the US. I help Americans and others relocate to Canada. I am a dually licensed attorney, both in Canada and the US. And I'm also a realtor, and I have been a part of Jim Wong and Ellen Sue's world for some time. And actually, when Jim was the president of eXp Commercial, I was the chair of eXp Commercial's International Investment Division. So that is kind of the genesis of how I came to meet Doug. And I have slides, but we have such a small group here that what I thought we would do is connect and talk. Is that Ellen joining? No. And it's connect and talk a little bit about the importance of global migration and having opportunities these days. So I thought maybe we could do a gallery view and everybody would have the opportunity to ask some questions about what's going on in the world right now. We don't have a lot of people on video, but there's really so much happening. And, you would think that there's that's fun. You would think that there's a lot of opportunity for growth and expansion and building that global footprint. And I see my friend Teresa here. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. So I recruited Teresa to go on a cruise in March out of San Juan. So if you're here, come on camera. So
It's a great cruise if anyone's thinking about doing it. Thank you very much, Lauren.
of course. Where are you now anyway? Are you actually in Chicago?
Surprisingly, yes, but
Wow, that's a
only for
shock.
another day, and then I'm off to
Uh-huh.
Vegas for investor meetings.
Got it. Cool. Well, nice to not see you, but I'm sure I'll see you soon. It's nice to see your name. So listen, I think at the end of the day, my biggest takeaway from anything that I've done over time and from building a rapport and relationship with Doug and with James and with Ellen and with others that I meet either here or at Jim's events or multiple events, because there are many, is relationships. And one of the things that we specialize in at my company is those relationships. So I'm going to go ahead and share my slides and then we can have a conversation about that. So let me just find them, which I know I opened them, but now they're not showing up, which is always fun. Hold on just a moment. I don't know why, but I will get to them. Does anybody have any comments on that before I go to my slides that I'm going to find? And I found them. Does anybody have any comments on creating relationships across borders and the importance of that?
That's
We don't have participators here. Participants, active participants.
I will say that, obviously, right, the Global Chamber was created and exists and every day makes connections. And it's a joy to be able to do it. It's a pleasure to serve members and be able to see the delight and the deals that get done. And so Cesar had the best week ever last week in terms of introductions. And I'm going to guess that it's going to continue to rise. And part of that success is our friend Claude has become a lot more involved with Global Chamber and the integration of Claude with
Isn't it fun?
Globinar.
You can talk back to it. You can tell it what to do. It doesn't argue. It's always on your side, right?
So I don't know if Cesar can talk because he's had a really busy week, but he's been doing a lot of smiling, and I've been doing a lot of smiling because I'm really happy with the progress he's made, and it's benefiting members already. So definitely you're on the right track with understanding how important that is. I also, Lauren, and I've been thinking a lot about this and why I thought it was important for you to speak here today is that I kind of forgotten why I started Global Chamber to begin with. I was sitting in Arizona and thinking, everybody badmouths Arizona. We had a bad recession, us in Las Vegas, and because we're just mainly strip malls, and we our recession was worse than other places that have a more sustainable industrial base. And so, what we need to do as a state is to really kick it up a notch and find ways to invest in ourselves and invest so that next recession doesn't become a depression like it did here in Arizona. So as a different kind of a person, very global, I also felt not very understood by most Arizonans because it was a different thing. And I think all of us go through that. Not you may do it for other reasons in other places that you've been where you feel like they kind of don't get you generally, like some
Yeah.
other place that you've been. And so ultimately what that drives me, the point I'm making is people should be able to live where they want to live for family reasons, for business reasons. And then I believe, and this might be the stretch, I believe that you should be able to do business anywhere. So now Arizona's different. It's much better. It's in demand. It's got the highest amount of foreign direct investment in US history through TSMC, and it's now a big player. And to some extent, I think I recognize that I'm a bit of an underdog kind of guy, and I feel a little bit more distant in some ways from Arizona because it's so successful, and people are like, "Hey, just don't bother us and just let us, do whatever we're doing."
Yeah.
And I feel somewhat more akin to places like New York State, upstate New York, where I'm originally from. That place is pretty brutal, and needs a lot of help. And so my point being the kind of work that you're doing and the kind of work that all of us are doing should allow us to live anywhere and work anywhere. And the work that you're doing and the second speaker that we have are both the technology is allowing us to do that. And so thank you for your work. And I wanted to provide a little bit of a context to your point around connections and how important they are.
So I've been very connected for some time because I was very active in the EB5 space, which is actually where Jim Wong and I originally met, which is
Oh,
where we
cool.
bring foreign direct investment into the US and create jobs. And somebody yesterday asked me how they said I should be a LinkedIn expert, a LinkedIn strategist because I have 30,000 LinkedIn connections. So I'll tell you a secret. I have two LinkedIn accounts. And the reason is because my one LinkedIn capped out, maxed out. So the reason I have all those is because when I was growing my LinkedIn way back, I was very, very, very international and creative and strategic in making the connections. And I've done quite well with that because I've always been globally focused. Now, as a Canadian, that's not a very common a common approach. Most Canadians don't think globally, and as a result, they don't have the opportunity to grow as much as those that do. So if you are globally minded, I think now is the time to really excel. There are a lot more digital nomads post-COVID, and I think that will continue to grow. And what we do in my company is help people to create that strategic global footprint, mainly inbound to the US, but as I said, not exclusively. So let's talk a little bit about how that works. Now, obviously, I have to make this disclaimer because I am a lawyer in two countries, and none of this is legal advice, although it's very general in nature. I just wanted to make that clear. As a disclaimer, this is not legal advice, okay? And if you do need legal advice, I would recommend setting up a call. This is me. I'm an international lawyer, realtor, and business strategist. I've written 4 books, one of which was focused on the immigration space. Why? Because my ex-husband was deported on the way back from our honeymoon. Yes, you can't make that stuff up. It actually happened. We were on our way back from Thailand, and he was put in immigration jail, expeditiously removed, and subsequently deported and barred from entry in 2007. And that is when I decided that it was going to be my purpose, my goal, my why, to create strategies to help people, others, avoid a similar fate. I have a teenager, 15, two dogs that are very sweet. Notice I didn't say that about the teenager. And but my teenager does great videos and websites, and I put his information in the chat because he is looking for two more clients, and he does great work very affordably, very creative, you know. These are the top 10 investment hotspots. And funny enough, my son last night looked at this and said, Mom, what about Argentina? So he's right. Argentina is going to soon have a citizenship by residency opportunity, which it does not currently have. Most of these other countries have either citizenship or residence by investment, including the US. A lot of people have looked at Portugal, but we help people. There are a lot of Canadians, especially Canadian Jews, because there's a lot of anti-Semitism in Canada right now. A lot of Canadians are moving to Panama. So it's a very big destination, and we have connections and sell real estate in all of these places. So again, it's about a global footprint, and we love helping people to establish that and establish their roots wherever they so choose to be. I remember Mike Wolf, who some of you may know, is one of the most successful real estate investors in Canada, and they call him the richest homeless man in Canada because he literally has no home. He just travels. He now has a thing called solo cruising where he gets people to join him on cruises all around the world. And his home is Calgary, I was going to say Ontario, Calgary, Alberta. And he goes there when he needs some kind of a medical procedure or he wants to see his grandchildren. That's pretty much it. But he's a great guy, huge real estate investor, and again, global nomad, pretty much. There's so many reasons to expand your foreign business to the US. I'm not going to go through all of them, but what I wanted to do was show you this. And this is really what I was talking about at the beginning, which is about the scope of what we do and what I think people need to do these days. So clients that come to us are often like, well, this lawyer does that and that lawyer does this. So I am a lawyer, but more importantly, I'm a business strategist. I think outside of the box. If people say it can't be done, I will find a way to get it done. Now, that is very indicative of how I created my signature program, which is called How to Immigrate with Real Estate. At the tail end of COVID, we had people coming to us that were investing in US real estate that wanted status in the US. And most lawyers, because investing in real estate, generally speaking, is passive, right? So, how do you make that passive investor into an active business owner so that they can get a visa? And that's our secret sauce. That's what we do. We turn the passive real estate investor into an active real estate business owner. So, we're the hub, and all of these are components that we deal with. And as you can see from the implementation partners, all of these are partners that we have, including networking partners, currency exchange partners, healthcare professionals, attorneys all over the world. One time I had somebody come to me. I think I met him through CEO Space or something, and he wanted to buy a business in Cambodia. Now, I gotta say, I don't have a lot of contacts in Cambodia. It wasn't like a big thing on my LinkedIn or anything. My cousin had lived in Cambodia for a year. So I reached out to my cousin. He is from Toronto. I reached out to my cousin. He connected me with a bunch of lawyers in Cambodia. I interviewed them all and we got the deal done. So the point is that even if it's not in my network right now, we can always find a way because I've been through, through everything pretty much. I think my ex-husband being deported led to a lot of that. And I've written several books, as you know. So there's a lot of connections and contacts that I have. I also know how to stay away from people that you don't want in your network, from implementation partners that you don't want to work with, because again, I've experienced some of the not so great as well. But the ultimate outcome is that we have a holistic, strategic approach to investing across borders because it's not just legal and it's not silos, it's everything. And when somebody moves to a new country, the last thing they want to have to do is move again. So a lot of people right now, especially people selling to Canadians, are taking advantage of all of the big exodus of Canadians. Yesterday, there was two days ago, KPMG said 40% of Canadian manufacturers are leaving. So the problem is that the people, you have to think about the people, not just the manufacturers, the people. So if the people move to the US and they have kids under 21, guess what? When those kids hit 21, if they don't have a green card, they're out. And people don't talk about that. They just talk about, oh, let's get you a visa and let's think about this. So we talk about the harsh realities and how to overcome the challenges that you would otherwise face because it's a big deal. And why are you moving if you're just going to put your tail between your legs and have to go back? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to share this slide. And by the way, many of you probably work with 1031. Once a person has status in the US, that means has a visa, has a social, they can qualify for 1031. Without a visa or a social, believe it or not, if you're doing a 1031 exchange, like a US investor is doing a 1031 in Canada from one Canadian from one Canadian investment to another, they can potentially qualify as long as it doesn't touch domestic soil. I bet most of you didn't know that, but I only found out about a year ago from doing a lot of research and speaking to a lot of lawyers, one of whom I'm actually talking to again later today. So there are a lot of opportunities that come with getting status in the US. Okay, so I want to share this slide. This
Lauren,
slide, hmm?
is there a way to make the slide bigger? I'm having a hard time seeing it.
No, it's my whole screen. Oh, maybe. Okay, wait, let me see. Hold on. Maybe this might help.
Ah, that's it.
Let's see. I'll share.
It popped on for a second.
Hold on. Let's see if this works. Is that better? No.
No, it went back
Okay,
to
hold on.
but
Hold on. Let me see. I
there.
got
Oh,
another.
for that 1 second, it goes
I
big.
I know I know what it is. I set this for on purpose for when I did a webinar last week. But now, can you see it or not? No.
Oh, hold on.
Yes or no?
No.
No. Goodness. Okay, hold on. As over the shoulder, side by side.
If you just click on, see that where it is right there in the middle.
No, it doesn't. It's not that. It's a setting on my share settings.
Uh,
Huh. So weird. Okay. Now?
hit share.
Now?
There you go. Now it is.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
You're okay.
So this is a confusing slide. I do that on purpose because we want people to come to us. But all of the letters on the top, I call it alphabet soup. They're all of the main visas that people come in on. I myself came in on what's called an EB2 national interest waiver. Anything with EB is a green card. EB5 is the program where we bring foreign investment dollars into the country and build those large scale projects like Related Group and lots of ALFs and hotels and restaurants. The EB2 is for somebody with an advanced degree that has some kind of specialized knowledge. And the EB1C is for a multinational executive or manager, which probably a lot of you are dealing with those larger companies like the KPMG was referencing that would come in from Canada would probably apply for initially an L1 for an intercompany transfer and then move to a multinational executive, which turns into a green card. The important thing is that anything that doesn't have EB is not a green card. Okay, so EB stands for employment based. To qualify for a green card through investment or through any of these, it's employment based. That's just how it works. Don't ask me why. But we have all of again that infrastructure, that advisory system to allow people to access visas through all these different types of options, from real estate to business investment to expanding your business to investing in a business to a franchise. So if those of you who are connected with franchises, this is a great way to sell franchises. I have several clients right now that are investing in franchises. And we do everything in three phases. Most lawyers just do the legal, but all of our heavy lifting is done in phase one, which is the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Why? Because without phase one, without a proper strategy, we put strategy first, and without a proper strategy, you're never going to be successful. You're just going to come in, and it's kind of like a haphazard business or startup, and you really don't have a strategy or plan for the future, so you're destined to fail. And our signature program, as I mentioned, is how to immigrate with real estate, where we take the real estate, the passive real estate investor, and turn them into an active real estate business owner so that they can qualify for a visa. It's a proven track record. We have 18 successful visas so far and counting. I don't need to tell you guys where the hotspots are in the US, but a lot of our clients invest in Florida, Texas, Arizona. Those are the three. And then they go to Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, sometimes New York State, just because it's close to Canada. There are several types of real estate investments, and the only one that cannot qualify for a visa because it cannot be active is the fractional REITs and syndications, unless you're the GP. And if you're the general partner and you're raising money, you could potentially get a visa because that is active. We like a couple of models in particular. When you're doing a fix and flips or adding value as an operator, we can make that work as a visa model. But my favorite is always going to be the real estate services company. And in this model, I love co-living. Co-living is the same as pad split. Pad split is like the Airbnb of co-living. It's just the kind of brand name. Co-living is when you take a single family home and turn it into a mini multifamily. The reason I like this model so much is because it's a very affordable way to get in the country, and it potentially can even lead not only to a non-immigrant visa, but to an immigrant visa because it's creating affordable housing, which is in the national interest, which then checks other boxes. So it's again all about strategy, looking, begin with the end in mind, do the reverse engineering, figure out how to get to where they want to go. What is their ultimate goal? Don't just look at the short term solution and the band aid because it's going to come back to bite you. Okay? Strategic reality that most people miss is that visa focused real estate cases will fail if they're focused on ownership, investment, passive income, and appreciation. But they'll succeed if they're focused on operations, job creation, scalability, and systems driven businesses. That's how you're going to be successful. So I don't need to go through the steps in the timeline. This is like my favorite slide, and you guys will see why in a minute. What do you think? I usually put a picture of me in my fur coat. Yesterday, I passed a raccoon, and I was like, oh, yeah, the last time I had a raccoon or was near a raccoon was when I was shoveling snow in Toronto, way back. You can see a station wagon in the background, so need I say more? But anyway, that's not on this particular slide. But I love this because it says Canadian Tired. And for those of you that know, Ellen would laugh. Canadian Tire is a department store in Canada. It's one of the few that's left. So it's a play on words, obviously. And then this is actually where I live now. So Doug, you can relate to this. So I don't live at the pool, but I live in that club. And no, I'm not on the beach, but it's certainly not too far away. And that is my story. So I wanted to share with you and actually open it up for a few questions before we turn it over to Heather.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts or
I have a
questions?
question. This is
Yeah.
Teresa.
Teresa,
Hi.
Good morning, or afternoon if you're, or whatever time zone everyone's on. The biggest question I have is understanding the dynamics and the change for direct investment in the current administration and what you're seeing, Lauren. Like heard various presenters and how they've been impacted in that change in
Yeah.
immigration status. So just tell us a little bit about your
So there's a
experience.
lot of changes absolutely that are happening. Okay. First of all, CUSMA, the Canada US Mexico Trade Agreement, is probably on the chopping block. And that will affect a lot of not just investment, but a lot of job opportunities because a lot of Canadians, especially, come into the U.S. through the TN. I actually came in originally through TN. So once that is eliminated, there's going to be more people looking to invest to get status. That's one thing. Another thing is the EB5 program is about to change in September. So there's only going to be grandfathering if you make your investment now. So when that EB5 program changes, and if the Trump Gold Card and Platinum Card, let's not even go there, come in, that will change the EB5 program, which is very real estate driven. Additionally, H-1Bs, which are for people with advanced degrees to get non-immigrant status, which I had four of them, four. Last September 1st or something, Trump changed the filing fee from, I think it was $5,000. Does anybody know how much it is now? Can anybody guess? 100,000. So it was five, and now it's 100. So that means that I probably wouldn't be here because I like they have to pay the person and then pay a filing fee of 100,000. So that makes it very cost prohibitive for almost any employer. So that's a big change as well. There are changes every day, and I tell clients that if they want to do this, they should do it sooner than later because the changes that are going to happen or that can happen through executive order are related to numbers, and numbers affect your investment. So you can't, you can increase the amounts and do a lot of things without getting congressional approval. So that's one of the main things that I see happening.
So can I then expand on that and just give as an example? So I had an entire portfolio. I mean, I still do have this on the market of hotels and studio apartments in Southeast USA. And I had someone who genuinely was interested in buying this entire portfolio from my attendance at MIPIM, but they halted because of geopolitical reasons. So I guess what do you see on the horizon in terms of investment, how you see that playing out over the coming years?
Um, I I feel like that's a loaded gun, to be honest, Teresa. And all I can say is that if people are interested in, like you mentioned, nurses. So one of the industries I used to work in was travel nurses, and if you, I think that the reality is that if you want to come into the country, you need to look at options where you have control. And you don't have control if somebody sponsors you. You just don't. So to me, if you have a few dollars, you're always better off to find a path that you can control your outcome and you can control your destiny. So I will say that now. And I think as time goes on, that's going to become more and more apparent. Doug said it would be nice if we could all work wherever we want and be wherever we want, but there are visa limitations. So you can't just go and live, you can't just come and live in the US. You can stay here for up to 6 months, depending on where you're from, but you can't stay longer than that because then you need a visa. Whether you are earning US dollars or not, whether you are working here or not, you just can't stay. And they imply, or I guess when you're crossing the border, they can stop you and say, "Oh, we think you're going to work," even if you're not, and they have discretion. So I think it's really important just to bear in mind that if you're going to be going back and forth across the border and you don't have a green card or a passport, you need to look at getting a visa. That's my suggestion.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to need to cut the conversation off right here because we have our next speaker. Is there any closing comments that you'd like to make, Lauren?
No, I'm happy to connect with anybody that wants to speak further, but thank you for the opportunity.
Which LinkedIn account?
It's on there.
I'm just kidding, because you said you had two.
Yeah.
I want to make a comment that the presentation by Lauren Cohen is outstanding. I had no idea that everything could be so complicated, but she has elevated the situation to it. I can easily understand why a lawyer needs to be involved at the early stages of anybody wanting to come to the United States to either work, live, or invest. Lauren,
I will say one
Thank you.
follow-up comment to that, David, and thank you. And then I'm sorry, Heather, I'll move over to you. I'll just say one thing. Right now, you see a lot of influencers that are becoming influencers because they got their visa or they got their green card, and now they exactly know how to teach you how to do it. And what you're saying, David, is so true because I've been doing this a long time, and you can't become an overnight expert. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
The book Outliers talks about to become a really true expert, you need 10,000 hours of experience. And that's how the Beatles got so good, right? So thank you so much, Lauren, for that information. Let's switch now to Heather Ali, who's the principal and head of marketing and sales and the director of partnerships at Maxana Pay. She's based in Scottsdale, Arizona, and she's helping companies not just make payments, but handle revenue in more effective ways. Patrick O'Meara, who's the founder and CEO at Patrick Ventures, is the member who brought her to us here today. Patrick, is there anything that you would like to say in terms of framing up the conversation so that we're all more aware of Maxana Pay and Heather?
Thank you, Doug. And I wore my black shirt in an homage to you, just to let you know. So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Lauren, thank you for your interesting take. I know EB5, we were trying to do that many, many years ago when I was part of the Marks Millichap IPA team way back when in Phoenix. But we're a single family office based here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've lived in London and a few other places around the world, if you will. And it's always interesting to be a part of the Global Chamber of Commerce. We're in real estate finance and tech. A lot of things that we do are leads or anchors or strategic advisors to real estate, tech, and financial opportunities in the form of funds or SPVs or direct investments. One of the companies that I ran across was Heather Lay, Max on a Pay, and it's fascinating. One of our consumer product companies, we didn't understand how our credit card processing issues were actually affecting our revenue, and we didn't realize how much we were paying on our costs. And when I met Max on a Pay and Heather Lay and understanding that I'm missing an entire side of our business, I thought, wow, this is really interesting to see where things are. A lot of people don't think of processing, and if they're a B2C company using credit cards, they don't think about it. And her company is an expert in looking at how to increase revenue recognition as well as look at the costs through the tech stack. And I'll let her explain a lot more about the business itself. But the founder is a great guy who was a former executive of PayPal running all of their processing for them. So they're experts in it. And this particular discussion could be beneficial to Lauren and the lady that was about hotels and things of that nature. We got involved because we have a sizable real estate network and family office network that are in B2C businesses, but hotels in general, because so much credit card processing runs through. We're helping a large family office in an acquisition of 70, 80 hotels. And people aren't looking at that whole missing side of the due diligence on processing. I mean, if you have 100 million in revenue and you're saving 1%, you can do the math on an annual basis, right? And that's just not that side of it. It's also the revenue recognition side of it. So I thought it'd be interesting to bring Heather on to talk about it, especially not only from a domestic standpoint, but international as well, because they work with international businesses and there's different processors across the world that do different things and some better than others. So I thought I would bring Heather on for this reason.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. And great talk, Lauren, as well, doing amazing work. I love your three phases as well. It shows your character that you're wanting to not just do the legal work, but also make sure that they are successful and stable in doing already a risk going and doing international business, living in a new country. So that full service approach, I think, is brilliant. So it sounds like you'll reach out to Lauren for her to get you, across the world and setting up your business. And you'll probably want to reach out to me when you are ready to make sure you're getting the most out of your payments so you can make the most amount of money and live as comfortably as possible. So our company, Maxana Pay, like Patrick had mentioned, was an idea that came from our CEO, Keith. He was a former PayPal executive, and not the executive that was stuck in the boardroom, but the person that ran all their platform initiatives. So he was the person seeing all the payments where, merchants have issues and problems with, getting the most out of that. I know it's a little bit more of a technical conversation this morning, and I'm sorry it's so early for everybody, but I think it's something that we're all understanding is needed when it comes to merchants that are over 2 million and 10 million and 100 million plus in revenue, that they are leaving a lot on the table for them because, again, there's so many different parts, I guess, of a transaction that people aren't aware of. So we just actually got a new website design. So I'm going to go ahead and use our website to kind of break down a little bit more some of these talking points. And I'm going to share my screen here really quick. Can everybody see the website page?
We can, yes. Thanks, Heather.
Awesome. So again, we started the company in 2020 as a engineering staffing company. Airbnb is one of our clients. We work with a lot of enterprise level businesses. And what we wanted to do was to bring that expertise that we have in kind of understanding a lot of the different things that you can do with your payments, for those companies and for those merchants that are either scaling really quickly, or they have a lot of different businesses, a lot of different ways that they take payments. Like Patrick had mentioned, hotels are a great example with that as well, because you have the reservation where you take the payment, you have the coffee shop, you have the golf course, and just making sure that all of that infrastructure, all those different areas that you take a transaction are working together and working efficiently. So a lot of the issues a lot of merchants have is, things like chargebacks, fraud. You might not know, but sometimes there's a decline on a card and it's actually for not really any reason or particular. The funds are there. But again, in the tech world, there's a lot of different routing things that you can implement in order to make sure that if one transaction fails, that you have what we like to call backup transactions. And so all of that is the technical things that we do when we look at a business's tech stack. And I kind of wanted to just put this page up first to kind of give you, again, some of these actionable things that will, almost like a doctor-patient relationship, go through each different merchant's account and see where, we might be able to improve upon these different areas. So a lot of the industries that we service, go to industries, are e-commerce based businesses. Again, a lot of, like Lauren had mentioned, a lot of influencers obviously have e-commerce based businesses. International companies have e-commerce based businesses. And that's definitely one of the specialties that we have, is making sure that an e-commerce business is performing as best as possible. If you've ever been around an e-commerce based businesses, they are literally changing button colors to get an extra click. And so it's very, very important that every part of the payment stack and the payment flow is as optimal as possible, because that's how you're getting the most amount of revenue as possible as well. Another large category that we work with is what we call a high risk business. You'd be surprised how many companies are actually now categorized as a high-risk company. Telemedicine is actually one of the biggest ones that a lot of companies, processors, are not wanting to work with. So because we know that, we do service and work with those high-risk companies because we have the relationships with our different processors and with our expertise in that sector. That's kind of one of our specialties and the pain points. Because of a high-risk company might have a lot of chargebacks. Visa and MasterCard doesn't like that. So nobody wants to be put at risk to, handle transactions where, you need tools and things of that nature to make sure everything is going through and the funds are staying in someone's bank account. So the other area that we do as well is in healthcare. So a lot of, like I mentioned, telemedicine companies are in that bucket, but also insurance billing, things of that nature. Those are also businesses, again, that we kind of specialize in working with. Again, they're larger, big ticket charges. So as I'd mentioned before, a lot of the businesses we work with are at that enterprise level. Like I mentioned, they are either scaling very quickly. And a case study I'll give is that we had a telemedicine company that was doing 50 million in revenue a year. And within, I think it was less than 12 months, they grew to 350 million in 1 year. And so with all of that being said, making sure that they're getting the most out of their transactions. For example, they had, I think, 35% in decline rates. So they were losing out all of that revenue. And with some of our solutions and tools that we do, we were able to get those decline rates below 10%. So that's a significant, that's why we call it revenue recognition, is because most people don't know and don't have the expertise that they can improve upon certain metrics. And again, that's why we work with those existing very large companies or the companies that have scaled pretty quickly and really need to optimize. And so, as we had mentioned, again, hospitality with hotels is another big space for us, again, because there's so many different ways that they take payments online or in person point of sale. And for us, making all those systems speak together and also multiple locations with those systems communicate together is a lot of the need that they have, which is what we would say is their infrastructure basically needs to be streamlined and optimized. And that's why we're definitely going really hard into that niche as well. So usually how it works, again, just because we do work with larger merchants, we obviously need to look under the hood. So we'll usually have what we call like a free audit, essentially, to really transparently let any merchant that we're about to work with know what they're leaving on the table, what areas that they can improve upon. And then the idea is that eventually, if they are able to get lower transaction fees with a new processor, we do all the above. We'll do underwriting for them with new processors for lower fees. And then, like I mentioned, we'll go through their entire tech stack and add in all the solutions to improve, fraud, chargebacks, authorization approvals, and things of that nature. So we're definitely a partner. And again, with our team's experience, 20 plus years in payments, we have a lot of that financial discipline and background in it as well. And so for us, growing this service out in the last 2 years was a really exciting thing because of the results that we're able to see with our merchants. And so that's why I'm looking forward to connecting with Global Chamber on all of this, because it's definitely a great value add, especially in today where it's already hard sales wise. Making sure the inside out your company is most efficient is a great way to, increase your revenue in your company.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Two quick questions, and then we do have a Global Chamber London event that's about to start, so we need to switch over to that. But Alliant Insurance and Global Med, are those two people that you've already been working with or on your radar?
No, I'm not familiar actually.
Okay, Global Med is a telemedicine leader that's in North Scottsdale in Kierland, so that would likely be a good one. We help them become the #1 telemedicine company in several different countries, including Argentina, which could be on the way to the World Cup final. We'll see. And then we've got Alliant Insurance. Ashley Pace is going to be in Phoenix for the Women in Global Leadership event on August 6th. And he's global insurance, but he focuses in on healthcare. So your focus there is really probably perfect for Ashley, and so would love to be able to help. Sorry, we need to do cutoff questions. Could I ask you maybe to give a 30-second closing comment, and then we'll definitely have you back and be able to connect up, and I will definitely connect up with you separately. Anything you'd like to close with before we need to shift over to our Global Chamber London event?
No, I just put some of my information in the chat. I love working with people like Lauren, anybody that sort of has an existing network of people and are able to connect me with the right companies to sort of service and add, again, value. So we're definitely a partner business where we love referrals, and we have a program around that as well. But I left all my contact details in the chat. And so if you'd like to reach out to me directly, check out our website. That's also on there as well. Then that's how we can connect. But thank you for letting me speak. And sorry, it's a little bit more jargon and tech.
No, it was perfect. Patrick, any closing comments from you as well?
None at all. I mean, you've got a great membership, even your own membership, if you will. I mean, you have what, 25,000 members who pay via credit cards, right? I mean, it's really something. We got hit. We had Square, and I didn't realize I was paying 6 points for using credit cards. That's just one of the things. Stripe, I had no idea. And, I didn't realize a lot of my credit cards and things that were declined. and I was losing revenue on a lot of things. And just people just don't think about it. So it's one of the things to think about all your B2C companies that are members. It's just a real eye-opening experience to realize there's a better path and a better way when you're using technical, experts like Maxon to pay people. And that's all. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Very cool. Oh, great technology. Love it. Thank you for sharing on such short notice. Lauren, thank you for your comments today. We're going to end the call today, but definitely we'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Cheers.